Am I the a-hole for not giving a kidney to my father? My 23 female, father 71 male, he has a chronic kidney disease and needs a kidney transplant to survive. He has 3 older kids. I have siblings, but none of them are compatible. They have the same blood type but haven't tested for compatibility yet. His blood type, coupled with comorbidities, fatty liver from alcohol consumption, make him an unlikely donor recipient in my country. We met this year, but my mom told me he was dead when I was a child because he didn't want to be in my life. She told me the truth when I was 18, and I found out he was still alive, had other kids, and where he lived. After pondering, I decided not to contact him. He always lived in the same city and house growing up, so he knew where to find me and never tried. His name is not on my birth certificate. My mom's brother-in-law has been my dad for everything that counts. A few years ago, I met my father's nephew, his wife's nephew, 28 male, Max. We became friends without knowing about the link and eventually started dating. Been together for 2 years. When we found out about the link, I told him I didn't want my dad knowing about me and he respected my decision. They are fairly close because Max's dad died when he was 18, and my father became his main male role model. I got pretty sick a few months ago and had to be hospitalized for 3 weeks. My father heard that Max's girlfriend, me, was very sick for my half-sister. She used the word dying, so he went to offer support. Figured who I was. He didn't know my name, plus I'm a copy of my mom. And lost it. He insulted me and my boyfriend, called me a gold digger and him an idiot for thinking I got close to him without knowing who he was. Up to this point, I didn't even know they were rich. I knew they were well off, but Max works very hard and never talks about money. We don't live together, and both lived abroad before the pandemic. I recently graduated uni, studied with a full scholarship abroad, worked and saved enough to pay for my master's. Even then, my mom's legacy is substantial, so I'm not worried at all for my future financially. Max eventually forgave him, and trusts I am not with him due to money. My father asked for forgiveness, and I told him I was willing to be cordial with him for Max's sake, but that I would never see him as a dad figure and I wanted nothing from him. Today, he talked to Max, said his kidneys were failing and he would be hospitalized until a kidney becomes available. Max has asked me to test for compatibility before making a decision. I told him that it wasn't necessary because I'm not giving away a kidney. He got angry and said that this was a life or death situation and that I could at least think about it. I am extremely distressed that he would even ask that of me and told him to buzz off. I know people can live with 1 kidney, but every surgery comes with risks, and pregnancy does become higher risk. Am I the a-hole for not giving an organ to someone that's contributed nothing but a sperm to my life? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. But if you want to escape the pressure, say you will get tested and tell the doctor that you're being pressured and you don't want to donate. The doctor will then tell them you're not compatible. Oh, really? I didn't know you could do that. Thank you. I don't want to lie to Max, and kind of understand where he's coming from now that I've cooled off. This may be a good option so my half-siblings don't come after me too. Well, it's like that in the US. Tell them you are being pressured, / forced to be here, / give up your kidney and they will say you tested negative for a match. Not stay home. And don't do the test. Nothing good can come of it if you're set on not donating. But, honestly, you and your boyfriend aren't set up for success here. There is so much baggage between you two. To be honest, some therapy would be really recommended, now rather than later. I wanted to break things off when we found out the link, but he seemed serious about being able to separate what my father was for him and what he had with me, and promised never to push me to start a relationship with him. That's why I'm so hurt right now. You're right, therapy might be needed if we want to keep going forward. Not a day home. Max's reaction is a red flag. He is losing a parent figure, so I'm open to forgive his behavior if he's open to hear and understand my point of view. He's been wonderful for 3 years, and we've never had big arguments before this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my husband delusional for demanding I give him 50% profit of my business that he didn't support? My husband, male 35, is a bank clerk, and I, female 29, have a work-from-home job, which I barely bear since I'm an active outdoor person and like doing gardening stuff in particular. I figured, since I have background in gardening, I decided to use our spacious backyard to grow flowers and sell them online after arranging and organizing them into bouquets. When I brought this up with my husband, he said this was the worst idea ever, adding that this would be a major waste of time and money, and suggested I look for a second job. I didn't listen and started my business little by little. In a matter of 18 months, it started bringing decent money and I gained customers. My husband offered to look at how much I was able to make the past months and was impressed. The other day, he was standing with his drink while I was checking my flowers, and he talked about what a good job I was doing keeping our business flowing. I corrected him about it being our business and reminded him about how little faith he had in my potential to make decent money out of growing and selling cut flowers. He was like, well, I didn't honestly think your little gardening hobby was going to get anywhere, but now that the business is flourishing, I want my fair share of the profit and won't settle for less than 50%. I was puzzled, and I asked why he thought he should get any share of the profit, let alone 50%. His answer was that I was using his soil to grow my flowers on. I said this is our house / our soil, not just his since we're married, and both our names are on the title. He was like, actually, I owned this house long before you came along, so it's technically mine. I replied that he must be aware it'll be split in half in case of separation. He laughed and joked about how silly I was for hinting separation, just because he was asking for something that he so richly deserves, which is 50% of the profit. I said no, and that he was delusional to ask because his soil alone doesn't magically grow my flowers. There's a lot of work to it, from picking, buying seeds, taking time, effort to care for them, collecting, trimming, and selling them while all he does is sit back. I said it didn't matter to him when I started using his soil, so why now? He said it always matters when money's involved. We had an argument about it, and he apologized, but only for approaching the subject rudely but still wants 50%. He's been silent about it since after stating that he already said what he needed to say, and I needed to make the right decision. Am I the a-hole? To clarify, my husband and I both have our own salaries. We contribute equally towards expenses. It's his idea since he had a divorce before. He still has things that he owns alone, which isn't bad since money has never been an issue. It's not like he needs money for an emergency or something. He just wants 50% of profits going forward. Not the a-hole, and I really hope you're consulting a divorce lawyer. Your husband just showed his true colors, and the picture isn't pretty at all. Leave his sorry butt to rot on his soil, and plant a new garden somewhere else without an entitled burden. Then he has to pay 50% of your overhead. That includes your salary, which you should now include for maintaining the business. Make him pay you to get his half. Not the a-hole, but you need to visit a lawyer ASAP to get your business registered in just your name and to look into a post-nup. You need to protect yourself here. If you live in a community property state, half the business is his, since she started the business after their marriage. Not the a-hole, your husband is. Is he giving you 50% of his wages? This is insane and a huge red flag. I think that idea of separation should be considered seriously. First, protect your business by filing for an LLC if you have it already. Then take the house or the land and make him buy you out. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting to sue my husband's sister for losing my 2K camera at the beach? My 26 female sister-in-law, 20 female, moved in with me and my husband weeks ago because of problems with her boyfriend. She isn't planning on going back till he apologizes, even though she broke his Xbox device in an argument. I'm a blogger. I have a small space in our apartment, sort of like my office but very small, where I work for hours. Sister-in-law always enters the room and takes stuff and not return them, resulting in me replacing them till it got a lock. She was going to the beach with some friends to let off some steam and asked if she could borrow my 2000 video camera to record the trip. But I declined and explained that I was working in the weekend and would need it. I got done with my project and left my camera at the desk. But when I woke up the next day at 9 a.m. and had a shower then breakfast, I entered my office and didn't find my camera. I freaked out, and my husband told me to calm down because his sister took it with her to the beach. He assured me it was in safe hands, but I kept worrying about it and was upset by the fact she took it and he gave her the key. She got back at 7 p.m. and was pissed, talking about getting in a fight with her boyfriend after seeing him with someone at the beach, and it ruined her day. She started crying loudly and cussing him out. I asked for my camera back and she said she didn't have it. She left angry after the encounter and forgot her sunglasses, cream, hat, and my camera at the beach. Her friend Aiden picked some of the stuff and brought it back, but the camera apparently got stolen. I started yelling, calling her irresponsible and reckless, and this was 2K camera she left behind. She started apologizing, then tried to blame it on her now ex-boyfriend for getting her into a fight with the girl he was with. I said I need a camera for my work, and she had to replace it like yesterday. My husband got involved and said it wasn't her fault it got stolen, and suggested I get a cheaper camera from Amazon for now till I can afford to buy a new one. I said, what? Why should I buy a replacement when it was his sister who lost it? She took it without permission and was responsible for whatever happened afterwards. I tried to make excuses for her being an emotional mess, but I said I have no problem suing her. He asked if I was serious, and I said yes because I've worked hard to get this camera, and my work's always been known to be of high quality. So for him to suggest a cheap camera from Amazon was offensive. He said he was just trying to help fix the problem, but I said he was just helping his sister avoid responsibility. Both him and his sister aren't speaking to me anymore so suddenly, claiming they've given me time to calm down, where in fact they're cold-shouldering me, making me feel guilty for saying that. I'm not sure if doing this will be morally the right thing, since she's family as my husband says. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Someone here mentioned a possibility for friend Aiden taking it, which is a possibility, but when I requested to speak to him about what happened, my sister-in-law said I was wrong to hint that he took the camera, even though I just wanted to ask him a few questions. She told me to leave him out of it since she trusts him with her stuff. Not stay home. Sue her. File first thing Tuesday morning. If your husband isn't on board, tell him that he and his sister need to go until they're ready to apologize and make things right. If necessary, file a police report since she stole your camera by taking it without permission. She asked if she could borrow the camera and you told her no, and she did it anyway. Your husband enabled this violation of your boundaries by sister, and then tried to invalidate your feelings on it. I think you are well within your rights to demand that she leave immediately, and say that she's no longer welcome in your house. It's probably also time to tell your husband that the two of you need counseling, and if he doesn't agree to go, then you should consult a divorce attorney. Unfortunately, I don't know if a court would see it as taking it without permission if her husband had locked the room specifically to allow her to get the camera. Depending on how property is viewed in their jurisdiction, it may be considered equally his. She still has a moral obligation to replace it with one of equivalent quality, a model still available. Do you have household contents insurance that covers loss or accidental damage? Get her to pay the excess, and your husband pay any difference in premiums for the next 5 years. Not stay home. First, you need to file a report with the police. Then inform your sister-in-law and your partner that if they don't apply a small loan and replace your camera and lens, then a lawsuit will be filed in 14 working days. Put the both of them in their place so that they never disrespect your property again. P.S. I would love an update on the final outcome. Thing is, my husband thinks it's always wrong to get the law involved in family matters. I admit that my family are the type to take things to court which may not apply to every family, but I think she should be the one replacing it, not me. Not stay home. But there is a bigger issue here. Much bigger. Your husband does not respect you and is willing to let his sister step all over you and your career. That is wrong. His sister is an adult, but it sounds like she acts like a 12-year-old. Seems like she's not used to being held accountable by anyone. You're not the a-hole for holding her accountable, and you deserve to have that camera replaced free of charge to you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for proposing to girlfriend with a plastic ring as a joke? So, context. I'm 35 male and girlfriend is 30 female. We have been together for 5 years. She has made it known for the past at least 3 years that she wants to get married. I always tell her to wait and see. It'll happen one day. Last night I was out with a few buddies and got a little tipsy. While I was out, we went to arcade machines for fun and I won a stupid plastic ring. In my tipsy state, I was like, aha, you know what would be a great idea? If I pretended to propose to girlfriend with us. Cue buddies laughing and agreeing. I got home after midnight and woke my girlfriend up. Shameful in itself, I know, and told her to get out of bed quick in an urgent tone. She was worried and asking, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I told her to sit on the edge of the bed. I then went down on one knee and presented her with a crappy ring and asked, "Will you marry me?" And then burst out laughing. I didn't quite get the reception I expected. She asked me angrily if I was for real and threw a pillow at me. She went into the bathroom, and when I followed her in, she was crying. I was still tipsy and couldn't stop laughing. Bad, I know. She was crying and saying, "I can't believe you find this funny. You know how much it means to me to get married? You take that special moment away by getting on your knee as a joke." I stupidly asked her how does she know it's a joke. She said, "It better be with that ring." I told her she's right that it's a joke, but she's way over the top right now. And then get into bed and sleep. Today has been her crying off and on about me making a mockery of her and our relationship. I've said I'm sorry until I'm blue in the face. But a big part of me thinks she's also overreacting, and it's childish. The ironic thing is, I do plan to propose to her for real soon. Damn, I feel like this is something she needs to get over. Or am I just an A? You're the a-hole. Really bad move. Messing with her emotions and honestly wasting her time. Although after this long, she's letting her time get wasted. I mean, he's been dangling it over her head for years according to him. When someone you love tells you what you want to hear, you tend to listen. This guy has been telling her that she needs to wait because it will happen someday, and she has believed him. You're the a-hole. For real? You better hope she doesn't leave you before you propose. She's not overreacting. You made a joke out of her feelings. She's probably crying because she knows what she has to do now. I know if I were her, I'd definitely reconsider wanting to marry this person. I didn't even want to get married. I was legit surprised when my husband proposed. And yet, if he had made a joke of it and acted like spending his life with me was a hilarious prank, I'd be out of there the next day. Like, it's one crappy thing to not marry a person to whom you know it is important, assuming you want to commit to them. It is downright abusive to taunt them with it and mock them for believing you would do it. And that's before you woke her up, laughed in her face, and dismissed her feelings about it. You're the a-hole. Are you and your buddies really mid-30s? This seems astonishingly adolescent. Anything that strikes as a great idea while you're drunk probably isn't. Let this be a lesson to you. And he thinks she is the one being childish.